Welcome to the Art of Being Happy, Buddha's Guide to Modern Living from Jethavanarama Buddhist Monastery, Sri Lanka. This intriguing talk series brings timeless Buddhist wisdom to help you navigate life's challenges through simple, practical insights. Each episode offers gentle guidance for finding peace and joy in everyday moments. Join us on this journey toward lasting happiness and inner peace. Brought to you by Sanathanavani, the voice eternal.
You know that there's no such thing as a free lunch, right? If something's free, what's being sold? If you get something for free, what's being sold? You. You are the commodity. That is why it's free. Meaning, your time is sold. What is the most priceless things for you? What is the thing that you can't earn once you spend it? People think it's money, that's the thing. People think it's money. So they're so careful about their money. Every year, don't you do a money budget? I used to have that as a good habit. My mentor taught me to do that. So important to have a mentor in life. Have your parents, have your teachers, have a mentor who will guide you. Someone who's successful, someone who's where you want to be, a mentor. My mentor taught me, budget, but he said, don't just budget your money. Budget something that is more precious than money. Something when you spend, you can never earn it back. Have you heard this saying, time is money? What a load of rubbish. If time is money, ladies and gentlemen, you should be able to give one and take the other. Can you? You can give your time and earn money, but will you return the money to me and shall I give you back your time? 60 long years you will spend working for someone and they will give you money. Yeah? At the end of the 60 years, you decide, you know what? That was a waste of my time. I want to do something else with those 60 years. Right? Go back and return the money. Every penny of it. Are they going to give you 60 years back? Is it fair to say then that time is money? Don't fall for that nonsense. I'm here to empower you to make the right decisions and the right choices in your lives. I know where you are because I've been there. I know where you are heading because I was heading that way. I'm not belittling you by any means. And please don't feel that way either. From time to time you might feel, Swaminathan is a bit snobbish. He's sitting on his high seat even and talking down to us. No, that is not true. You arranged this before I got here. If you could look into my mind, I'm prepared for any of you to just come and walk over me. That's perfectly fine. I'm prepared for any of you to just come and have a piece of your mind that, in fact, when you have a problem at home, right? If you have an argument and you really want to get a piece of your mind out, you want to share a new page, you want to have a go at your wife or your husband or your child, don't do it with them, come and do it with me. I'm okay with that. Because you just have a frustration you want to vent, come and do it with me. I'm okay with that. I'm okay to just be walked over, that's fine. All of this is because of the Dhamma, not because of me. This decorations, all of this is the decoration that you see here. All of this is for the Dhamma, not for me. That's why no matter which Swaminathan comes here, you'll still do the same, won't you? So it's not for this Swaminathan. If another Swaminathan walked in one of these days, sits down and starts giving a talk, wouldn't you worship him the same? If a Mahalin Mahansi comes here and does a sermon, wouldn't you worship her the same? Wouldn't you arrange this place the same? Then is it for me? Any of this? Of course not. It's for the Dhamma. And I know that. I want you all to be able to live as happy a life as I do, but with all the duties and responsibilities fulfilled. And all you need to do for that is to understand the Dhamma. Your understanding, your realization of the Dhamma will free you. Because what I offer you, ladies and gentlemen, is a choice of freedom. So whilst you're out there fighting for the freedom of choice, no matter what it might be. Right? You might sometimes fight for the freedom to park your car in a car parking space. You'll find yourself making that fight. Right? I should have the choice to park here because this is my driveway, someone might say. I should have the choice to build up my house and add another story to it or add an extension to it because it's my house. So you'll go fighting for that. You'll go to the local council and fight with the councillors. See, you're fighting for the freedom of choice. When you set your mind on someone and you want to be with that person for the rest of your life, you'll fight with your parents. You'll fight with her parents or his parents, right? Somehow to make that freedom of choice. When you go to the shop and you want to buy something and you think it's too expensive, what do? You try and negotiate. It's too expensive. Give me a better price. Again, you're fighting for the freedom of choice. When you want something and someone says it's booked, I'm afraid, what do you say? Surely we can make something happen. Surely you can make an adjustment for me. Surely something can be done. Ask your boss to come here, I want to talk to him. Ask your manager to come here, let me go and talk to him. See, you're fighting for the freedom of choice. Carry on your fight, that's fine. But what I ask you to do is, let's also fight for the choice of freedom. The choice of freedom. All I'm here to do is lay down all those choices in front of you. You're free to make your own choice. So far, you've all been making the freedom of choice, but not the choice of freedom. What is the choice of freedom? Is our next question then. What is the choice of freedom? The choice that offers you freedom. Do you remember from last week? I told you, I asked you this question, why do you outsource your happiness to others? If I asked you now, ladies and gentlemen, could you not name me 5 things or 5 people that could upset you right now? 5 things that could upset you, that could bother you? Where do we start? You'll say, wherever, Swami answer. We can start wherever. 5 things or 5 people that can upset you. Your work, your boss can upset you. You ask for something, they say no. They ask you to do something you don't like, but you have to. Your clients can upset you. Like you say, please sign the dotted line, sir. No, I want to discuss further how I can get a better price. No, not again. You've been through this. What about at home? With your spouse? Or have you just become too accustomed to it now that it just doesn't seem like a fight anymore? Same battle over and over and over again. But you know the drill, right? Yes, now you've gotten used to it and you know now the things you have to say and the things you shouldn't be saying, right? But it was the case of you scratch my back, I scratch yours. You know all this stuff. I'm not making this up, am I? Isn't family life like this? You can't lie to me because I've been there, done that. I've been there, done that, so I know what it's like. When she says, let's paint the walls blue, and you don't like blue, now what happens? Someone has to give in. And in living together is living making compromises, is it not? When you compromise, what do you compromise? Your suffering. Or your happiness. You're compromising your happiness. Think about the last time you had a brawl at home, an argument. So it might have been something as simple as, same thing for dinner again. Have you never had a verbal war at home? Where your words are your weapons. Sometimes you'll say things that are so sharp and so piercing, and you know it. And you pretend like nothing happened. And just in passing you say, yeah, my father said this would happen. Yeah, you always have it your way. Why can you never see things from my perspective? It's okay, it's all right. And don't nod because you think I'm going to embarrass myself and my family by nodding. So don't nod. But I know that we are all in the same boat. It's okay because life is such. Who are we kidding? Life is such. When you leave home, you wear a smile on your faces, don't you? Where do you hang that smile? By the door. You have a mask, don't you? By the door. And you put it on before you leave. Let's just pretend that nothing's wrong. Nothing's going on between us. Let's just pretend that we don't have any misunderstandings, any arguments. So, right? Okay, maybe something's going on. Someone, you hear a knock on the door. Right? Sorry, just go wash your face. Go wash your face. Stop crying. Stop crying already. Someone's at the door. Go and get the door. And don't you be saying anything. And then they walk in and go, hello, Mr. and Mrs. How are you doing? Never been better. Oh, we're kidding. But the thing is, people who just walked in through the door, they also know. Because at home, it's the same story. So where's that happiness that you were promised on the Magul Porur? Where was that promise? What's happened to that promise? Were those promises kept? Or how long were the promises kept? We started talking about the reason behind some of these things last week. How absence makes the heart grow fonder. See, when you first started out, right? Let's try and remember some of the things we talked about last week. When you first started out, it was just a fling. When it was just that first furtive glance, at a wink, or maybe just a smile, it was just an attraction, which then grew into an appeal, and then maybe later on into affection. You were apart. You didn't get to see much of each other. You had to wait until class every Saturday. Saturday afternoon, you had that class, and you had to wait until you met her. You had to wait until you meet. Or maybe you lived in 2 countries, worlds apart. Or maybe you lived in another town somewhere. And that meeting only happened once every few weeks, maybe once a week at best. At that time, the time that you had to spend apart from each other was time that you were building up inside the expectation of meeting them. That longing, that needing to see them, that longing to see them was building up inside, and that is what you experienced as vexation. So when the meeting happened, you were relieved. That relief was what you experienced as pleasure, because what the eye wishes to see, when the eye sees it, the eye experiences pleasure. We talked about cake last week, remember? Why is this that the most favorite cake, your most favorite cake, you can't have every day? As much as it might be the most delicious thing in the world, but the more you eat it, the more you get fed up of it. Right? We were starting to build up a theory around why these things happen. So when you live apart from each other, right, that builds in your mind that looking forward to feeling. And then when you look at them, when you finally meet, there's no longer looking forward to. I often relate this experience when I used to live in England. I had to travel quite a bit from Scotland to London and to work. So every week, every 1 or 2 weeks, I always found myself at the airport. And the arrivals lounge is a fantastic place to observe how this vexation and release from vexation and pleasure works. It's fantastic. So you will have seen this if you've had any traveling. When 2 people meet in the arrivals lounge, and you can tell how long they've been apart from each other, can't you? Can you not? When you see 2 people meet, can you not tell how long they've been apart from each other? How do you say that? How do you say it? How do you tell? Come on. Don't be shy. What is, the greeting that they receive is directly proportional to what? How far they've been apart. So if it's just a simple handshake, or just a simple, so you arrived safely, Right, let's go. How far have they been How long have they been apart? Maybe just a day or two. Just a day or two. What if it's about a month? They've been apart for a month. There's at least going to be a hug there, right? At least a hug. Agree? Yeah, there's at least going to be a hug. I mean, a month apart and no Skyping in between. No Skyping, right? Month apart, not a word spoken, right? And then reunion after a month. How do you normally greet them? At least a hug and maybe a peck on the cheek, right? A bouquet of flowers? No, that's too soon, isn't it? You got to wait at least 3 months for some flowers. What about when you start going into 6-month periods, like maybe a year apart, to maybe several years? What then? Do you think they stop at a hug? Just some flowers? No, then it becomes roll on the floor time, right? Hugs and embraces and kisses and tears of joy. You just can't get enough of them. I mean, if the security guards weren't there, one would follow the other so much. It'll be the embracing that goes on, the hugging and the kissing, and it's like sometimes because, get a room, guys. Why? Think about it. Why is it the longer you are apart, the greater the pleasure when there is reunion? I have more to say. Like when you go home, now say let's take the spouses, right? Husband or wife, they've been apart for, say, a year in another country. Not much of keeping in touch with each other either. It was not possible. Now it's been a year. They've come back and they've gone back home. What do you think is going to be on the menu for lunch that day? They've been apart for a year. What do you think is going to be in the menu? Cup of tea? Their favorite dish? Yeah, favorite dish. What do you think about their room? Do you think they'll be asked to make it up, or do you think the room will be made up for them? I mean, there are wives here. If your husband has ever done any traveling, right, and when they get back home, how do you prepare your home for their arrival? Or husbands here, when their wife has had to travel and they come back home, how do you prepare for her arrival? Maybe mothers and fathers here, when your child goes away, maybe for study, 2 or 3 years, right, in another country, do their study, they come back home. On the first day, how do you greet them? How do you treat them? Tell me. Just a cup of tea? You give them the royal treatment, don't you? The royal treatment? And you give them, like, when you walk into the room, that's like the presidential suite of a hotel room. All of the amenities, so the bed made, nice and fragrant, their favorite meal cooked, nice and warm. Even the hot water bottle is filled with water. And there are cards, there are little balloons and flowers and everything. So that is how the first day happens, right? And when now they have to use the washroom. How's the washroom? Spick and span, is it not? And the towel, all washed neatly and kept aside. And to wear after the wash, the new clothes, new clothes for this loved one who's returned after a long time. Now this is the first day. Let's fast forward time. Let's come to the second or the third day. What happens then? Same treatment? Is it the same treatment? On the second or the third day? So the first day you made them a cup of tea and you asked them, would you like me to make some soup for you for the evening? Is there anything else you'd like me to get for you? And all that. But on the second or the third day, I'm sharing this story so you don't fall into this trap. Don't buy this nonsense. Do it, but don't fall for it. Realize that all of this is not because they love you so much. It's all because they love themselves so much. They couldn't bear not seeing you for all this time, and now they have just seen you. The longing and the waiting and the frustration and the disappointment and the urge and all that vexation that was building up inside of them has been relieved. Because truly, ladies and gentlemen, if it was because they loved you, shouldn't they be giving you the royal treatment every day? Shouldn't they be giving you the royal treatment every day? But do you get it? Of course not. So you can't say this is because my family loves me so much. If it's love, then it has to be every day, but it's not like that. I'm not saying your family doesn't love you. Yes, they do. Fine. But what I'm saying is, there's another thing at play here. The first day they say, shall I make a cup of tea for you? And now they say, if you're going to make a cup of tea, can you make one for me as well, please? If you're going to put the kettle on, I'd like one too, please. And then say a week later, do you think they come and make the bed for you every day? Now what they might say is, if you're making the bed, then can you make mine as well, please? If you're doing the washing, here's mine as well. It's in the laundry basket. So what happened? This is life. So in the lab of life, you have experienced all this. Now I need you to apply the Dhamma and work out what's going on. Why is this? So we said absence makes the heart grow fonder. In your absence, there was the waiting. The waiting had to happen. The longing for you. The vexation to be with you. All of that was building up in their minds. But as you met, that vexation was relieved. It was, imagine like pressure inside a pressure cooker. Right? As it heats up, what happens to the pressure inside? It builds up, right? So the pressure builds up. And at some point, you open the lid, and then the pressure is released. The same thing happens in life. All that first-class treatment, all that royal treatment was because there was a vexation that was in their minds, which was relieved on that first meeting. And then after that, that vexation was no longer. So therefore, there was no need to give you that kind of treatment. Now you would be foolish to fall for it. You just need to understand it. I'm not saying from here on, don't treat your family like that. Do so. But I'm saying if you are the member of the family who gets this treatment, realize what's really going on. Understand what's really going on. But if another member of your family goes away, and when they come back, treat them the same. We're not about changing what we do on a day-to-day basis. We do the same things. We just understand it differently. We realize things differently. We perceive things differently, but do the same things. It's fine. Because there's no harm in making someone happy, is there? If you can make someone happy as they return by giving them a box of chocolates, by giving them a bouquet of flowers, by giving them a really warm hug, if that makes them happy, then what's wrong with that? Do so. I just need you to do it, but know what else is going on. So do it mindfully. Do it mindfully. Mindfully aware of what's really going on, do it nonetheless. So that's just another example. Whenever you need something, ladies and gentlemen, whenever you really, really need something, you long for it. And the more you long for it, the more there's a build-up, the more there is pain inside. And you know this feeling when you just can't wait for something to happen. And that build-up is released at the point that you are met with that object of your wanting. So why is it that I am happy today and I don't go through this cycle of waiting for something to happen and then it happens and then I'm relieved of it? Why do I not go through that experience now? For one reason alone. I have understood the mechanism of pleasure. And you will soon, if you haven't already. When you understand the mechanism of pleasure, and that pleasure is nothing other than the relief from pain, you no longer look forward to the pain. You no longer look forward to that. It doesn't stop you from doing it, because you do it, conventionally it's what we got to do. We got to be nice people. We got to be polite. We got to be welcoming. We got to be hospitable. Right? We have to have our good manners about us. We have to meet and we have to greet. We do all that. So outwardly, the same things. Our behaviors don't change. Our actions don't change. What changes is the way we think about it. See, the ultimate goal of all this, ladies and gentlemen, is simply for me to help you to relieve yourselves from any suffering that you get yourselves into. That's it. If you can tell me, yes, Swaminathan, that has now happened, we no longer need these talks. We can pack up and go home. And you can live your lives as you normally have done and do this. It's the same regular things you've always done. It's perfectly fine. At the end of these talks, whenever, I don't expect you from now on to go and stop looking after your family or stop going to work or stop your education or anything like that. carry on doing whatever you have to do. Carry on doing whatever you got to do. Be a good mother, be a good father, be a good son, a daughter, be a good student, be a good teacher, be a good citizen, be a good employee, an employer. Do all of those things. All I'm asking you to do is, you carry the burden of it in your mind. Your heart weeps. That is what I have a problem with. If you have a sleepless night because you are trying to be a good mother, that doesn't compute. There's nothing about being a good mother and suffering on behalf of her children. Be the former, but don't let the latter happen. Suffering is only a product of attachment, nothing else. It would be wrong to say that I love my children so deeply, that's why when I see them hurt, I cry. Complete and utter nonsense. Don't fall for that. Don't think that as a good mother, your expression of love are the tears that swell up in your eyes when you see that they suffer. That is not a mother's love. In which case, the Buddha never loved anybody. But for 45 long years of his life, he walked on foot, preaching the Dhamma, going from door to door, going from town to town and village to village, healing people, healing mothers, healing fathers, healing sons and daughters, healing kings and beggars, teaching them true happiness. True happiness is not crying when the person you love has a problem. But it is neither being in a state of euphoric joy when someone you love is in a state of happiness. It's neither of those things. It's being unshakable. It's being equanimous. It's neither here nor there.
Thank you for joining us on The Art of Being Happy from Jethavanarama Buddhist Monastery. May today's wisdom bring you peace and joy in your daily life. We'd love to hear how these talks have touched your life. Share your experiences with us on +91 6361 803371. Until next time, may you find happiness in each present moment. Brought to you by Sanathanavani, the voice eternal.